Jake, thank you so much for joining me today. You are head of school at Legacy Christian Academy, and you just completed a year-long process that is quite a remarkable journey. Why did you choose to go down this path of professional growth, conversation, and compensation?
Well, to be honest, originally it came down to our compensation model really was broken in my mind, and it was not honestly transparent either with the needs that we were facing of having to hire people coming in at different levels. We didn't want to be kind of chained into a step-in lane system, and so we were already fudging the system behind the scenes. And we were already in a banded system to give us some of that flexibility, but there really wasn't a lot of transparency with the rest of our staff, how to move forward and how to grow in their compensation. So we figured out, we knew that we were low in our compensation. It was one of our strategic initiatives in order to recruit and retain really good teachers. We knew we needed to increase our compensation. And so as head of school, I didn't want to increase our compensation without leveraging the growth that could come with it. But honestly, I knew that system was broken and I knew we had to change something, but I didn't know it would be as robust of a journey and program to connect the compensation with our professional growth and the support of our staff through conversation. And so it is going to be a real blessing for our school in so many ways around just transparency with compensation, and now having compensation connected with growth and student impact. And there's been a lot of unknown positives that have come out of this. But that's why we started. That's why we started the journey, was we just needed help and wanted to come up with a different model than the traditional step-in lane system, because I believe that system's broken and hasn't shown, it just hasn't shown to be successful in areas that we want success.
All right. How would you describe the process to another head of school who might be curious?
Yeah, well, I would say it was revealing. You're looking in a mirror for a year as you're walking down this journey, and it revealed a lot to us, forcing us to really ask, what do we value? What do we want as outcomes? How do we get there? What is the role of the teacher in that? What can a teacher ultimately be responsible for? And what is the student ultimately responsible for? So the first would be revealing. I think you're going to learn a lot about your school. I think you also learn a lot about your team. So another word I would use is collaborative. I loved how CSM brought this beyond the administrative level, and they brought a true representation of teachers and administrators and leadership team, all a part of the conversation, which I think long term is going to really help, because there's ownership now at all levels. And I believe, it's not a feeling of administration versus teachers, us versus them. It really was a team effort. And there's a lot of conversation that happens outside of administrative conversations, or teachers with administrative conversations. And it's so valuable to have the teachers to teacher conversation that has happened and will continue to happen. So those are the two words that come to my mind right away, would be revealing and collaborative, and long term I would say impactful as we roll it out. But that will soon to be determined to see the full impact.
Yes, it will. Although we're certainly seeing that process happen already in some other schools who've started a little bit earlier. No, that's not what I expected you to say. So that's really great to hear. So what was it about the process that you found? In some ways, you've already answered this question, but anything else that you found satisfying in the process?
Yeah, great question. I mean, as I think about the process, what I was ultimately really satisfied with was the end product and the journey, because it was really holistic, and it really touched all areas of the school. Thinking through vision and strategic direction of the school, when you think about core documents around the profile of a graduate, around our professional profile of our professional excellence and characteristics of our teachers. So it was very holistic in really hitting core elements of our school, and I think impactful from just helping even administration think about prioritizing their time and what their job description currently is, how that can be reprioritized so that they can really support their teachers best, so the teachers can really support their students best and have the ultimate student learning and discipleship and the outcomes that we desire for a school. So it's very satisfying just that it touched so many areas of the school. But I would say along the journey, so often we start with compensation, and I think that's where teachers are going to start. But ultimately, it was a much larger discussion around how do you invest in your staff and help them think professionally how to grow, and a holistic understanding that everyone's on a professional journey, and necessarily that's not right or wrong, that there's a journey based on longevity or veteranship or starting out the profession, or it could be based on season of life. And that should be taken into account as you support your staff and help them grow. But really casting a vision that we're a growing professional journey as a community. So that was powerful. Yeah, so I just get excited about it touching every part of our school, and ultimately that it's going to help us recruit and retain really, really solid teachers.
Mm. No, that's a really pertinent point. And what did you find frustrating about the process?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's frustrations with any strategic initiative that you walk down. There's frustrations with any strategic initiative that involves people, which is everything. Um, I think the hardest challenge for me as a leader was knowing there needed to be change, knowing my desire to get to a point that we needed to compensate our staff better, knowing that if we were going to invest even more in our staff, that there had to be some connection to um, the impact that they brought to the mission of the school and to student transformation and student impact. I knew all of that starting it out. I did not necessarily know what that looked like. And so I think the biggest challenge for me in this was, how do I lead a group of 15 administrators and teachers down a journey that I don't know where it's going to end or what it exactly looks like. And the challenge along with that is no school's journey is going to end at the exact same spot. And so CSM can't necessarily walk in and hand you a document and say, this is exactly where we're going, because they need to discover that with the school as they walk this journey together. And so I think that's the biggest challenge and frustration in this, is to try to lead a group to somewhere that you need to go without exactly knowing what it looks like.
Well stated. So you mentioned CSM. Why else would you recommend a school partner with CSM in this journey?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, there's not a lot of schools that currently are walking down this path. And so we're blazing a trail to do something that is needed and necessary. In order to do that, you need a partner that understands the research, can ask the right questions, can step above the team relationship, because sometimes there's statements that need to be made or questions that need to be asked that need to come from outside the school, apart from the head of school or principals or even teachers, where administration needs to be challenged to hear something. And we need that partner to help guide us down that path. So that's the first reason why I would say a school can't do this on their own. In my opinion, CSM is the best consulting firm out there, from a Christian schools, Christian education standpoint, to understand. They understand the research. They're going to put it forth. They by the very end, we got a report that was over 100 pages to be able to track where we came from, to be able to say this is the new model, but then also to say here's the next steps to be able to actually make this happen. I think there's so many consulting firms out there that come in, work with you, but leave and don't give you the path to walk. And so that's what I really value, about CSM is the path is in front of us with a group that is unified around it. And CSM is willing to take some bold steps in areas like this. And I believe they have the expertise to help schools accomplish that.
Right. And any advice you would offer to a head of school who is questioning, considering, wondering?
Well, I think the most important asset that we have as a school are our staff, and the teachers are the ones that are touching the students most. And the principal's role is to support those teachers. And so how do you create a model that can happen best? And how do we create a model that actually has teacher growth and development that impacts students? Because there's been a lot of money spent every year on staff development that has no direct correlation to student learning. And I believe a model like this fits into the entire mission and focus of a school. And it will be different than what a lot of people have walked through with other schools, but that's a really good thing. And I will say our best teachers are most excited about this because they know they're going to be supported. They're going to have access to have conversations consistently with their principals. So it's all built on relationship. And they see that if they want to grow in their professional growth journey and that they impact students, there's a path for them to increase their compensation. And so I'm really excited about the culture that it's going to affirm and continue to build here at Legacy. I think it's going to keep our best teachers and it's going to recruit some great teachers. And so my encouragement to a head of school that's considering this is to take the plunge. And I think it's going to be a rewarding experience.